Never-ending search for answers, trying to figure out what's wrong or looking for ways to fix your life stops here. Learn how to identify and let go of emotional blocks that could be keeping you from the life you want in a 21-day emotional release challenge. Let Rissi Carrey show you the way. Simply click the link below.
Love as we start. Wow, Rissi, good to see you.
Good to be seen.
It's been a minute, but it's good to see you again.
Good to be seen, and Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year.
To be here.
Absolutely. I was telling you that I am loving the
great
and I'm going to have to get mine. So hi, Amani. It's good to see you. Happy New Year to you. So if you're joining us, this is a place that we talk about real issues, everyday life, what happens in our lives, some of the things that hold us back, what we can do to move forward. Ordinary people living amazing, extraordinary lives. That is why we are here today. So tell someone, share the link. Rissi is here and you want to hear from her because you need to hear. I'm not going to go into it. So Rissi, I did try to introduce you a bit, right? And this is me. I always lose it somewhere on the introduction. So Rissi, in her own words, who is Rissi?
So yeah, I'm passionate about wellness and well-being, and boy, oh boy, don't we need it, because from COVID, we have not taken a breath, and now the world is on fire. If you have been slumbering through life now, you have to wake up, because things are not going according to our plan, according to our design. So that means we need to recalibrate and adjust. And adjustment is not an easy thing. And so walking through COVID, walking through all these different phases, and then the wars, then this year, we are dealing with things that our system is in shock. So how do we leverage, like you said, this year so that we can grow and actually not only grow, but position ourselves so that we can either serve the people we are called to serve or be the best that we can be in wherever we find ourselves. And I love that book you shared by John Maxwell. Success is a choice.
Success is a choice.
Yes. So what choice are you making? And it takes, we always have these things like series of unfortunate events, right? But no, there are series of fortunate events that you can leverage for success. So
Amazing.
I'm excited to be here, and Happy New Year, everybody. And yes, I'm dressed in gray, and it is very intentional. I'm wearing shades of gray. And for you to leverage the new year and choose success, it's not black and white. There are many, many gray areas.
Right.
That's what we'll be delving into. So to be honest with you, I've dressed the part.
I know. It's like, just a perfect conversation today for, what we are looking at in this 2024, which we don't know what it's going to look like. But all we know is that we've been given this fresh set of months and days, and we get the opportunity to write things that will either help us or not help us, right? So let's start talking about leveraging, because I was looking in the dictionary and it said that if you leverage something, you actually use it to your advantage. You credit it. You almost like capitalize on it. You use that as your, sounding board or your platform to catapult into something else. Right. So here we are in 2024. I am excited. I'm thrilled. At the same time, I'm like, like they have these big, amazing goals and everything else. So how do I leverage this 2024, these days ahead of us, these months ahead of us, the weeks that are yet to come? And how do we make them, become something important, something substantial that we can look back in 2025 and say that we used our days for good. We used our months for good. How do we go about that when you think about leveraging for good?
That dictionary definition actually puts it in the right context for this conversation. Because yes, what can I take from where I am to use it for good, to use it to or maximize its impact in my life? But the key piece when it comes to leveraging is there is a body system that you have. You have your brain, you have your behaviors, you have your thoughts, you have your feelings. So, yes, we come out with all these lofty goals and they are wonderful, right? It's great to write them down. And even the word of God tells us, write the vision and make it plain. So we've written them down, we've made it plain, and we are excited about them.
Right.
But things are run within you.
Mm-hmm.
The same way you go to bed and fall asleep without a conscious input. And sometimes you wake up and there is not a conscious input. You find yourself walking to a routine, the bathroom, cleaning up, doing all the routine things we do. It
Right.
is actually etched in our memory. So that memory is a replay of those things over and over again. So if we are talking about leveraging and putting some of these things into extraordinary use and impact, something has to be disrupted in the memory framework for these things to take shape. And that is where the battle is.
Yes.
Because our memory and the brain function does not like disruption. That routine is on autopilot.
Right.
And then suddenly you got to wake up 30 minutes early because one of your goals says maybe meditate and sit quietly or do something to calm your body down.
Right.
So the memory piece is gonna, oh no. We are going to do exactly what we do. You are not going to come here and run the show. We've been running this show from you name it. Why are you doing this? So then they rally against you. So that day you're supposed to get up 30 minutes early. You set the alarm, but then you couldn't wake up. And then you hit the snooze. These are the things and these are the gray areas we need to address first. So the resolution and the things you put down are great. But the internal war, these things, we claim there are new levels and new devils. There are new levels and new struggles. So let's think about that for a second. So now you would have to, because the disruption is happening, and your memory and the system that does the autopilot thing is resisting, you would have to take charge. Meaning, okay, if I couldn't wake up the 30 minutes early and I go to bed at 9, maybe I have to go to bed at 8:30. You got to start negotiating with the system. But we don't do that. We think we get up and we go. No, it doesn't happen. Negotiating with the system meaning, and I'm talking about the system, your nervous system, the seat of your emotions, because we don't realize that our thinking becomes our feelings and the feelings become action. So the thinking that I'm going to succeed is a great thinking, right? But the resistant part of you is nervous, is anxious, and is going to resist. So that means that all these things that I said I'm going to do, then the thoughts are at war with each other. There is confusion in the system.
Right.
So the leveraging becomes, okay, I went to school. For instance, you heard the introduction that, I was doing my master's program. Actually, I'm done. I have been practicing as a licensed psychotherapist.
Wow.
So what I do is I will leverage the fact that I have done routine before. I have studied, I have passed exams. What did I do? So then if it means I read for 45 minutes, I'll take that same concept to the next thing I want to excel in your resolution. And tell the system, we've done this before. You have to have a positive self-talk because the memory and the system is giving you a negative self-talk. Oh, this is too hard. Oh, and then the reframing. Sometimes, you've been told you are lazy. You can't do this. You see, the chatter will start to overwhelm you.
Right.
It's the same way when we cut ourselves. You see, for the bleeding to stop, the system, your body system, we're talking about anatomy and physiology. They rally around each other, the cells and everything, so that they can coagulate so the blood will stop. It's the same with emotions. They are rallying around to protect what they have, the routine, so that you would not disrupt it. Even fever has its purpose. Fever is there so that something happening in your body, the inflammation, so that the body temperature is raised for this, the invasion to stop. So all these different things speak to us. But we don't know that language when it comes to emotions because most of us don't even have the vocabulary. So that is why that week you decided to go to the gym at 5 a.m., you slept all week so deeply. And then if you are not careful, right? And your internal dialogue and the negative self-talk sets in, you feel defeated, and then you are deflating slowly by February. According to Psychology Today, when we make the resolutions, 80% by February, we have already lost gas. So these are different things we have to work through. The self-negotiation, me taking a frame of reference from finishing that course, in years, and also studying for my license. Last year, January, around this time, I was studying hard because I needed to pass, to become a licensed practitioner. So I take cues from there. What time was I waking up to do the study? And the reason why those things are easier? Somebody is grading you. There is a deadline for the assignment.
Right.
They are good motivators. But when we make these resolutions, nobody's marking, right?
Yep.
Nobody is grading. And so it's easy not to go through with it. That is the problem. So I go back and reverse engineer that school system. What helped me pass these licensing and the graduate school? And then I'll say, okay, so I was studying 45 minutes, maybe from 5 a.m. to whatever. That means I'll negotiate with the system that is sabotaging me to say, hey, we're gonna wake up at 5.
Wow.
You see?
Yeah.
So these are frame of references you have. We all have some solid stuff. We all have some strengths. And leveraging means go back to those frame of references, things that helped you to succeed, and leverage them. Go back to those mental routines, things you've done before that you have succeeded. But for some of us, we have to deal with the emotional aspect of us too.
Right.
Because we always say people who particularly are trying to do a diet, we say it's not sometimes from my integrative nutrition education, they tell us it's not what you are eating, it's what is eating you. So you can have the goal, a beautiful goal of going to the gym, but you are doing emotional eating. If you don't address the emotional eating, the things, the thoughts, the feelings that make you grab that potato chips, the comfort foods, the things that make you feel good in a moment, if you don't address the emotions, that goal for the gym is not going to sustain, right? Because the emotional situation, the depression, the anxiety, the feeling overwhelmed, the feeling out of place in your body that you haven't addressed, right? Is what is causing the weight gain or the restlessness or the sleeplessness. And so sometimes the negotiating will take you to a deeper work, meaning maybe you need a coach, you need a psychotherapist, you need a mental health practitioner, you need a motivational reading. Go back and unlearn some things. Then you really
Amazing. So I think that you've said a lot of things, and how you parallel it with, looking at it from the fact that we just came over from 2023. We did some good things. And we have the opportunity to go back to that frame of reference to be able to catapult into 2024. And that is something that we did with Pastor Annette in December. She did an audit, having an audit of the year. I mean, you can do it any time of the year. But a lot of us don't stop to audit anything, right? We don't take stock of the things that are eating us, the things that are not helping us, the things that are no longer serving us, right? And so when we get to that point where we are not mindful of those things, then we just keep repeating them like history, right? So here we are, 2024. We've gone ahead to write down goals, plan out things, but we didn't take time to look at those places where we have strengths that could actually be a buildup. Because years ago, we did Atomic Habits as a book. And it talked about compounding habits. How do you compound one thing, add another thing to it? And I give my funny example of the 7-minute exercise thing that I have. I have an app that is 7 minutes exercise. And a lot of people in my house, they laugh when I'm doing my 7 minutes because they're like, oh, yeah. But it's a compounding effect. Is how do we compound the good things and make it work for us? So now that you're talking about that in terms of leveraging, how have you been able to, help others or even yourself when it comes to compounding these little habits? Like Dr. V is saying, take it slowly. If you cannot go to the gym, just make sure that you walk. How do you do that to be able to be successful in the things that you're trying to do, especially for the year?
Absolutely. And yeah, that is where the SMART goals comes in. Make it simple.
Mm.
Simplify it to its minute piece. And I love you and your app. I have one too. There is this wonderful person from where we come from, Kufour Fitness. And she has this amazing Afrobeat kind of workout. I do it at home and they laugh at me too. But what that thing does for me is, guess what? There is something called emotional brew. And those are the things that I said will sabotage that resolution. Because when you go haywire and you don't know why you woke up feeling the way you are feeling, right? When I'm doing the workout, the way we Africans dance, we move every part of us, right? So whilst I'm moving all those different parts with this wonderful Afro beats, I am dealing with the emotional brew. See? So that is helping me reset. Remember the compounding, the stacking. Stacking, right? So the first stack for me is doing that workout to shake off those emotional things that are lodging in different places in my body. So by the time I finish the 15 to 20, whatever minutes I'm done, I'm calm. So you see, you need to be calm emotionally, because if you are all over the place, how can you execute effectively? So after that, guess what? I'll do my breathing in and out. Maybe for those of you who do devotion, right? I will curate the devotional, not from, what do you call it? This popular one.
Daily Bread.
Not from Daily Bread, but I'll make sure I'll put in a little work, because if I need to find things that support the goal.
Right.
I'm not reading just for reading's sake. So maybe there are things I can pick from Daily Bread and other places and line them up in my devotional.
Amazing.
Making that vision plain. That is how I did my course, because I was like, okay, I'm a coach, I do this and that. But when COVID hit, I was like, no, this is not going to be enough for the heavy things that is happening to us. So I went back to school in the midst of COVID. Meanwhile, people claim they were depressed, and I'm not saying they weren't. But I had clarity around that time, like, whoa, now classes are going to be on Zoom. That gives me a leverage. I don't have to go anywhere to study. That is when I enrolled.
Right.
See?
Right.
And for over a year and a half, we did all the classes on Zoom. I only did regular traveling to class 3 months, then I graduated. But it took that clarity of mind and the calmness, because COVID took us out of our elements. So without these mental routines and stuff, believe you me, you would fall apart emotionally. Right. And let's talk about the closet issues. We were stuck at home, right? Young children. Now people realize, whoa, I don't even like my partner. They don't help. Even with all these mental health things, they sit and just use the remote. Let me tell you, COVID has also unleashed divorces. And we are talking closet issues. And so taking these appraisals, taking this talk of our lives is a place to start to say, you know what, maybe I don't like where I am. Or I like what I attained in 2023, but there is more for me. Now I realize that there is more. What are those mental routines and those habits that I can leverage? Again, choosing success means I have to say no to other things.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
What are the things that you are resisting, and yet they are the no's you are supposed to say, so that you can pursue that one thing that will take you to the next level?
That is a question. What is that one thing? Because you see, this morning I chanced on a video by whatever, I think by design, I wouldn't say by chance. And it was talking about the vision, right? And how people will buy into your vision. But then the vision will also help to eliminate certain things in your life. And it will attract certain things. So your vision will attract your friends, will attract even your hobbies. Like, what do you want to play? What do you want to, movies, or anything? Because that is not your vision. That is not where you want to head towards. So some of us are coming to 2024. We have all these amazing visions, but what is that one thing that you need to let go if you are to hold on to this new vision for 2024? How can you leverage without letting go? That is a question.
Yeah, that's a question, but also a trick one, because guess
Yeah.
what? And that is where self-sabotage comes in, because there are things that we need to let go. And most of the times, as creatures of comfort and habits,
Yeah.
we are used to letting go of the bad things. So it's easy because I don't like it anyway. So
Right.
have it. But when there are good things, good qualities that we need to let go, like the compassion, that empathy I have for people, the fact that every phone call I will pick it up because I will speak a word of encouragement to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly I have to block some time because this dispensation and where I'm going, that time zapping behavior is not going to help me.
Right.
That is where the rubber really meets the road.
So the good habits,
Yes,
but it's not serving you
in this
particular time.
Meaning that means I block 2 hours. I'm not
Right.
picking the calls. They have to go to voicemail.
Mm.
They are the tough ones. And most of us have some good stuff, but
Right.
we have to say no so we can move to the next level. Because if I've been called to reach 1 million people, that means the 50 in my circle that are zapping my time. If I don't block that time to build and stack habits that will take me to reach that 1 million, I'm sabotaging me and sabotaging the vision.
Oh. Mm.
And so it calls for you living mindfully rather than mindlessly.
Mindfully.
Yeah, because a mindless living is anything goes, right? We are on autopilot. The person calls you, you pick up, and it disrupts the next 3 things.
Everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But where you are going, you need pockets of concentrations. And we all have willpower one way or the other. But willpower is not on demand. For some people, you know how somebody will say, I'm a morning person, I'm an evening person, or whatever. If you have to find where you function the highest so that you would exert that willpower. Because when you are depleted and you are trying to pull that willpower, it's not going to serve you. That is why my time, the time I am more productive, is 4 a.m. to 5-ish, 6. I don't mind, because I have flexibility, I don't mind taking a nap whilst everybody else is going out there. Even me seeing clients, patients for therapy, I schedule them from 1 p.m. because of this type of lifestyle. And I know that that is not the end. I still have miles to go. So I schedule them around 1 so that when I do my 4, 5, 6 a.m. and I need a nap, I'll take that nap and then get ready and go to see them. So you see, that means adjustment, rearranging your life to suit the vision and your temperament.
This is good. This is hard and this is good. And I think the hard one is letting go of the good things that are not serving me at this time. They are good. I mean, I want to talk to everybody. I want to readily answer every call and do everything, but it's not serving me at this time. For 2024, some of these good things are not serving me. So how do I let it go so I can, focus on what is going to help me for the year?
Right.
So if you're watching, maybe you're thinking about your good thing, or the one thing, or the two things that you really like to do. I am thinking about mine. You want to write it down. You don't have to put it in the chart. If you want to put it in the chart, that's fine. But write it down, and look at the good things that are not going to serve you for this year's goals and the things that you have. You feel like you're going to be able to achieve or you want to achieve this year. Write it down. And let's talk about it some more.
And that is leverage.
Yeah.
We don't think in terms of leverage that I have to let it go so that I create room and space for That one thing.
I create room and space for that one thing.
Yeah.
So when I am leveraging, I'm creating room, I'm creating an advantage, I'm creating some gains, I'm creating some credits that I can use for other things. That is good.
And we have to be comfortable with the vision, and the vision has to consume us enough so that the letting go is a little easier. Because if I'm looking at that bigger impact, the 50 in my camp, yes, I love them. And yes, I want to serve them. But if I want to reach 1 million, the mindset, and that is where mindset comes in. So you just don't get up and get there. That is where the healthy mental routines, mindset shift, and all these different things they come into play. And that is where sometimes you yourself finding a coach, finding a support system, people who would help you focus. It's important.
You know, Rissi, as you're saying this, I'm thinking about a conversation I had, not too long ago with overtime, like someone who really is doing a lot of work. They're working a lot and they keep working a lot, right? Because they feel like they have a goal they have to meet. And I was saying that, yes, it's good, work hard, do the overtime and all that. But you need to be able to carve out time to be able to focus on where you want to go, not just the work. And I see that for a lot of us here, we end up being a very more robotic in this type of area, because it's this keep on go, work, keep working some more. If you don't know what to do, just keep adding some more work. But then the meaningfulness of this work sometimes we get lost because we are not taking the time to even leverage, take the time to leverage. What is this overtime supposed to do? Because sometimes you work the overtime and the taxes that is taking out from it, it's not worth it. It's not worth your health. It's not worth your time. But because you're not pausing, you just keep working it, thinking it's actually adding value, but it's very insignificant if you actually process it,
Exactly. And that's the mindless living versus the mindful living. And you are right. Because we have not planned and carved out where you are going, these shiny objects entices us. And they are distractions. They are distractions because, it looks good. The money looks good, or the energy and the passion to say, this and that makes you feel good. But then why? Even sometimes there is an emotional thing behind it. Because why do you feel validated throwing yourself into all that kind of work? So that means there are some things you have to either sit quietly and appraise, like you said, appraiser, right? Take stock. So that you can identify this workaholism comes from maybe when we didn't have enough. So I'm afraid we will never have enough. Listen, I have designed a 21-day simple program where now is emotional release. It's very simple. Within less than 21 minutes with a journal, people can go through a la carte, meaning you don't have to come to a group, because I'm listening and, testing things out. I will send it to your mailbox with instructions and your own journalist so that you can process these things. And I have my life has actually been transformed by some events that happened in my family. So in 2019, my two sister-in-laws who have worked 50, a combination of their lives here was, I would say, 90 years. One has lived here for 50, one has lived here for 40. During the time they were planning to retire, the older one had a stroke. We nursed her here. When she was well enough, we took her home because that was her dream. Built her house and all these different things. 3 months, the other one was preparing. The 3 months before, we were going to go home and, celebrate her and all that, my sister-in-law passed. And the one we traveled from here, the other sister, the one who was here for 40 years, she, the week we went to the funeral, past, we buried them in the same grave.
Mm.
Work, 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 work,
Mm.
work. So some things have actually, again, my frame of reference. So when I begin to abuse my body, I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. I want to live well. So there are real results when we neglect ourselves. There are real impacts. And these emotional pieces and the blood pressure and the things we don't take care of. If your car is breaking down, because it's not going to take you where you're going to go, you are going to pay attention to it, right? But when our bodies are breaking down, we don't take care of it. We push it even further. If your car does not start, you check the battery, you take it to a mechanic. When our bodies are not starting, we will dress it up. Actually, that's when we will dress our best and wear the makeup and get out there and perform. We are always performing at a cost. And so that letting go of the fact that, no, okay, the overtime paycheck, gives me a little flexibility, in maneuver my finances. But maybe for this period of time, I'm going to sit with myself. Where is my life going? That's a good goal. That's a good place to start. This overtime, what is it serving? At what cost?
What cost? So many interesting, wisdom nuggets to pull as we get started in this 2024 that we are in. You see, what will be a tragedy is that you have knowledge and you did not use it. What will be a tragedy is that you make choices where you could have made better choices, right? So every choice that we are making, even a choice to participate in a conversation like this, listen in, glean something, be able to apply it, that is a choice we are making today for our tomorrow, And for those of you who missed it earlier in the when we started, I said that our book of the month this year or this month is Success is a Choice, and it's by John C. Maxwell. You need to read that book and start making intentional choices, which is what we are saying, that as we make these choices, we are able to leverage the days, the weeks, the months for our good, because we've made a choice that these are the things that we will do and these are the things we'll let go. So Rissi, coming back to leveraging the year for good, right? I know that we have things that we can leverage. One of the things about leveraging is, think about it like a lever. Like you have a lever that when we click on or we push, it does something. Where are some of the levers that we should be thinking about as we go into, we keep walking into our year? Where are some of the places that we can actually push some levers? Because we have a ton of levers that we can push, but there are things that are, of course, if you look at the human, needs, these are things that we will constantly have to focus on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you said it so well, because knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. Faith is nothing until it's applied.
Right.
So you are right. We have levers. Are we using them judiciously? And some are hidden in books. It's going to take you an inconvenience, but we are listening to all kinds of junk commentary whilst we are riding our car to work, and you could plug in your audiobook. So we are talking about minute adjustments, simple things. Maybe you don't like reading, so listen to an audio, maybe 20 minutes a day. Where are you going to find that 20 minutes? Is it whilst you're on the treadmill? Is it whilst you're on your walk and, you put your iPods in, or, whatever you do? It takes negotiation.
Right.
Some of us would have the TV as a background. We are not watching. And our scattered brain is absorbing some things. Maybe the first 20, 30 minutes, don't turn it on. That is a goal. So that 20 minutes is a quiet space, so that maybe sit and think. Maybe run your day through and see where you can adjust. So we have levers. We have things that we can do. Guess what? That time we spend in that shower, right? You could be listening to something. You could be humming or singing. You could be preparing yourself mentally. As a matter of fact, who said to us that prayer is about blabbing? Prayer is sitting quietly sometimes, having a dialogue, meaning you speak and you wait. And you can visualize after that. When I run my clubhouse emotion, what do you call it? The prayer clinic, no. The wellness wake up call.
Right.
Remember?
Yeah.
I have stillness. I have stillness where you breathe in and out. So your 20 minutes of devotion, don't just read and then you know you're not going to apply. Why don't the thing that is sitting on your chest, the thing that you are losing sleep over, why don't you have a dialogue about it with the Lord? With the intention that even if I don't get an answer right now, but I'm tuned in. So there are things we need to shift in our emotions, in how we even do time as doing life. You know, prayer is just not bringing a wish list. What about the things he has put in your place, like books, this success book, and the things that you don't read, the things that you haven't touched? Some are collecting dust. But the nugget, the one thing you need for the success is hidden in that book, or in that situation, or the thing that your body is resisting the most. So how about changing your prayer and putting the list down and praying for grace so that you can go through what you need to go through, meaning the reading, the other things, so that it become a domino effect for the next thing.
Right.
That's leverage. Those are the levers we're supposed to be pulling. Maybe sleeping a little early, maybe giving up on the overtime, saying no. Maybe that favorite show that you watch at 11:30 when you know that in the morning you can't wake up. Maybe record it, or you know what? Make it a goal to give it up. Particularly if you know that where you're going, you need mastery. Because you see, the bottom line is the mastery of ourselves. Because if you cannot lead you cannot be a leader.
If you cannot lead you, then you cannot be a leader. Right. Amazing. So we have levers. We have so many levers in 2024 that we can actually push, we can actually touch, and different levers will mean different things to all of us. For some of us, the biggest lever that we'll ever have this year is stillness. And if we can push that lever and we can start practicing that, then we will be able to move and accelerate into the year in a very amazing, successful way, right? Others, it will be financial levers, like money. If we can know how to manage $1, manage $2, manage whatever we have. Because some of us, we still think that you need to have $1 million for you to be successful. And I don't think that's true, right? So levers, as we talked about, is going to be critical to us this year. Rissi, what do you see as you work with people? What are some of the levers that mostly helps us to be successful?
Mindset is key. Mindset is key, because that is where the battle is won or lost. Because if you set your mind to something and you are able to commit, we claim 21 days to form a habit. 21 days is just making sure you wire the track right. It takes another 2 sets of 21 days to form that habit. So you see what I'm saying? The stacking, the persistence, the resilience, but all is all embedded in mindset. So the best levers we can have is, yes, when there is a book club, use that as a leverage. Because if on your own you can't read a book, but because we are doing it as a group, right, there's accountability. Use it to your advantage. People who were on depression medication, according to the neuroscience journal, where some of them were given coaches to help them walk like 1.5 miles a day, that kind of stuff, consistently. And the others were left on their own to do it as, a study. Those who had accountability, right, were able to do it, and they didn't need medication. But those who were on their own couldn't. So where you can leverage community, like here. Leverage community when the community is doing it, because there is accountability. I've seen you and your working partners, and you ladies sweating it out and stuff like that. Even the vegetable garden, right, that you started, right, and showing what you grew. Because imagine, we're talking about money. Imagine taking the bell peppers from your own farm. You are saving some $2 right there.
Right.
How can I repurpose that $2 that I saved from that pepper for something else? What are some of these things? And let's delve into money, because money is emotional. Money touches a nerve in us.
It does.
Go there. Let's really, really go there. So you are running a deficit. Let me tell you something. All the kids in my family, like grand nieces and you name it, 7-year-olds and 10-year-olds, teenagers, they got a stress ball for Christmas. I'm serious. They got a stress ball because we are stressed. They are stressed. And I teach them how to hold and then breathe in and release. I tell 7-year-olds, when your mom is acting up, take your ball and go give it to her. You calm down. It sounds like a joke, but I was leveraging, because based on what you just said, right? My people come to me stressed. They come to me, well, and because I scream on my kid, this and that. Guess what? Do you have a stress? Oh, no. Okay, go invest in one. So after I have counseled people like that, the holidays, because that's what I gave, guess what? I don't have a big bill. That after the holidays, right, then the credit card payment comes and I'm stressed. And for those of you who don't live in our part of the world, then you've, bought all these frivolous things because you are on a guilt trip because you didn't spend enough time with the kids, this and that and that and that. Do you know coloring calms people down? So if you buy one of those ginormous coloring books, the days you claim, oh, and the child is too hyper, guess what? They will be hyper because that's your expectation of them. But imagine carving out 10 minutes. Mommy. And you are like, okay, grab the book. Let's color. How was your day? Whilst having a conversation, you are calming and they are calming at the same time. 10 minutes. And they'll stop chasing you. Leverage. But you will sit there and get aggravated for an hour with the kid. Meanwhile, you haven't surrounded your surrounding with these things that you can pull and help them to calm down. And some of us want to go on a diet. Guess what? You still have the chocolate chip. Your mind knows where the chocolate chip is, cookie is. You haven't cleared those places, right? Before you know it, your legs and your hands are reaching for the stuff because there is a memory track. So mindset is the firm foundation. Instead of stacking and and even if you look behind me, I'm kind of a big deal. A plaque. I am a big deal. So that when I look at that thing, if you're a big deal, what are you supposed to do to make this true?
Right.
So put things on your bathroom mirrors. I mean, things to remind you of whatever that goal is. Because they are all motivators, right?
Yeah.
And before you know it, whatever you are looking at, your brain is catching, right? You are moving. Your body is also cooperating because there are visuals of the reminders in your car in different places. Everywhere you have a reminder, even in your kitchen. So that's how we do it.
No, that is such a powerful thing. Like just clearing some of these things out. We have leftover cookies from Christmas and all that in the house, but here we are either thinking about a fast or thinking about weight loss. And it's like, okay, how are you going to do it successfully? Remember, this is going to be a successful year based on the choices that we are making, right? So if you don't make the right choices, no matter how much you put in front of you, it's not going to work. So get that book, Success is a Choice. And let's make sure that we are all keyed in. We are looking at it, we are reading it, and we have that mind to succeed. And lastly, Rissi, before we go, any thoughts, any ideas, any advice for all of us? Some people will come on later. So I saw a few people. Let me just give a shout out to who joined also. So I see Lady Reverend. Okay, so Amani, I did recognize. I did see Gloria, you came on. Good to see you. And I have Did I miss anybody else? Well, if you joined, just know that I do love having you here. It's a pleasure to, serve and be part of these conversations. I am learning a lot. I know that I have to go back and sit still with some of the things that we've talked about myself. But, Rissi, back to you on us, our final, thoughts. What are some of the things that, in a summary form, we can actually take from here and say, okay, now that we are in 2024, these are some of the things that we can really put our leverage on, make it an advantage, make it a gain, and make a successful 2024?
I would say invest in your emotional well-being, because you are where you are based on your thought process.
Mm.
So if we are leveraging all these different things, invest in your emotional well-being. Books, even YouTube, channels and motivators, like you said, even this book, somebody will say, but I can't afford it. You said it's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube.
So now, actually, you know what? We have no excuse. In this dispensation, we have no excuse.
No.
Because if you don't like reading, you can listen. And you can get it for free. There are podcasts. There are many, many different things. And that is why I said craft that vision with the topic so that you know exactly where to go for the things that will boost and reinforce the habits you are trying to form. And that is the key, right? Because without gearing yourself towards the things that will form the habit in you, then you are setting yourself for derailment and failure and sabotage.
Right.
So surround yourself with the materials, the things that you need to boost you, to give you the jolt to your memory to say, I got up to do this. And because there is a memory bank, something to show you that this is what I'm going to do. And hey, that thing works too, Anytime I don't do this, maybe I'll put a quarter in the jar. That, different motivators.
Yeah.
That will work too, because when the quarter is piling up, right? You'll be like, oh my God, look at how much, So do things to help you to remember. But most important, invest in your well-being. Tune into yourself. Because if you are disheveled from the inside, the same way we don't want to appear on the outside looking shabby, when you look shabby emotionally, psychologically, and you name it, your whole system is jacked up. So let's invest in ourselves. Some people are afraid to sit with their thoughts, but it's important to sit with your thoughts. And if they are scary, write them out, because you want to get them out, right?
Yeah.
And look at them, pray about them, deal with them, because they are actually the steam engine that fuels all of you.
Amazing. They're the same things that is going to fuel your success this year. So whatever you're dealing with, wherever you are now, is a good place. Okay. You still have how many days left in this year? So many days, to leverage, to take different bits and pieces of what we've spoken about and then make it yours. How do you take the very small bites, right? And then make it into something that you can achieve. So next week, we'll be talking about tips for setting realistic goals for this year. As you're looking, some of us, we've written our goals, but they are not realistic. We're going to talk about that next week. So make a date with us next week as we come together again to talk about realistic goals for 2024, because it's okay to have goals, big, audacious goals, but then it's very important that we also have realistic goals that we can work little by little and get to. So I know that as we've had this conversation and you sit and you think about it, you can go back and listen again. You can share with a friend. Make sure that you're, thinking about yourself, your well-being, and how that is going to help you to succeed this year. This year, you're not just going to just walk through. This year, we are going to really be mindful about what we are eating, what we are doing, how we are sleeping, not going through the year as if we are zombies and we are just walking through. So thank you so much, Rissi, for being part of today's conversation. Always, always a joy to sit with you. So many nuggets that you've released. and how we can go back and even look at some of the things that served us well. Dr. V said it so much, better than myself. Thank you for sharing, because these are not, things that you put money to. These are things that you really key in and listen well and apply. And I think that is what you've given us for our year 2024. And thank you for making that time happen today.
It's such a pleasure, setting the tone for the year. And we've only done 6 days. That means we have 299 or 300, whether we have a leap year or not. So yeah,
we still have a lot of days, and that is important. I mean, now we can at least get started on a good note, knowing some of the things that we can read, some of the things that we can do, some of the choices that we are about to make that we can do better with. And for those of us who joined the Google certificate program, it's not too late to finish it. Okay, it's hard because it's a self-led course, and you have to do it, and you have to make sure you're tracking your progress. I hear you. I'm with you. But I'm going to send reminders out, and I'm going to encourage you, make some time, finish that certificate, do something with it, and change your life this year, 2024. Don't allow the busyness of life to just take away from this amazing opportunity that you have to finish a certificate online. Okay, so tell someone about this program. If you don't have, you know someone who will benefit, tell someone and let them sign up, because we always want to help. And I'm glad that with this particular program, we get to help so many people around the globe, not just here in America, but around the globe. So thank you for keying in today and tuning in and sharing with someone. I am excited with what we're about to hear and see and experience this year. So I want you to make it a point to share this, conversation, and join us next week as we talk about realistic goals. How are we going to do that? How do we even take the ones that we've already written out and then make them realistic for 2024? Love you all, and we will see you again next week. Take care. All right.